All right. Hello and welcome to the 2024 Land Cruiser and its trims and the differences among them. We see a lot of videos talking about the retro look and all the mechanics. That's great. But at this point in time, we want to look at the differences in the trims that we got and when it will be available to us. So let's get down to the business. And on this note, we are only getting 3 different trims for now, which is the Land Cruiser 1958, the Land Cruiser, which is the mid trim, and then we've got the Land Cruiser FE, that's the first edition. So these are the 3 trims that we're going to compare in all of this. And so let me just get down to the business straight away. Now, for Toyota to keep the price low, the 1958 trim, which is the beginning trim, has a black fabric seat, an 8-inch touchscreen display with wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and all models come standard with the latest range of connectivity and convenience features, including over-the-air updates, guys. So that's with the seating quality for the 1958 version. Now, when you get to the Land Cruiser mid trim, that upgrades to Softex trimmed seats, a larger 12.3-inch touchscreen, and a 14-speaker JBL premium sound system, guys. And you also get an available premium package which adds leather seats with heating and ventilation for front seats, a heads-up display, digital rear view mirror, moonroof, and more. Now, when you get to the first edition, you get a leather seats with first edition logo embossed on the door panels and then wireless charging pad. All models boast of getting Toyota Safety Sense 3.0, which is the brand's suite of collision avoidance features. And the 2024 Land Cruiser will be built in Japan and will arrive in the United States in the spring of 2024. Retail price will be announced closer to that time, but Toyota is actually targeting mid $50,000 range for this. And with the FE edition, that's the first edition, Toyota is actually building only 5,000 units, which I believe will be snapped as fast as possible. So if you are interested in any of these, you can jump onto that. Now, let's look at what actually we are getting in terms of the powerhouse and underneath the chassis. Now that we know the basic differences in the trims, they all actually sport one basic engine, which is a cut down from the 5.7 liter V8 to iForce Max turbocharged 2.4 liter hybrid engine that produces 326 horsepower and 465 pound-feet of torque. Now, if you look at that, that's 55 fewer horses, but an increase of 64 pound-feet of torque on this smaller engine. But let's get down to what actually matters the most here, and that is this engine that we've spoken about. So as it turns out, the iForce Max turbocharged 2.4 liter hybrid engine with 326 horsepower and 465 pound-feet of torque, and it has a 50% fewer cylinders but more torque thanks to the 48 horsepower electric motor nestled within the 8-speed automatic transmission and a small 1.87 kilowatt battery that powers the electric motor, guys. And unfortunately, the towing rating has dropped from 8,100 pounds to 6,000 pounds in this case. Now, we are not getting a manual transmission version. It doesn't seem likely because this can only be mated to a 2.4 liter turbo version of this particular motor without hybridization, guys. So it's not likely we are getting a manual version of the Land Cruiser. Toyota says that the Land Cruiser's fuel economy estimates will be announced getting closer to the sale date, but is bound to beat the outgoing 200 series, which had a testy 14 miles per gallon here. We're getting a full-time four-wheel drive system with a lock-in center differential as standard, and it also has 2-speed trans keys with high and low range, and there is an electronic lock-in rear differential to split the power 50-50 between the rear wheels when off-roading becomes a bit gnarly. Also, the only thing missing here is a differential lock at the front, but it may be on one of the options that you can actually go for. As for the design, we have seen a lot. So when you compare that to the Land Cruiser 200, the new model is 4.4 inches narrower and 1.2 inches shorter. It is not a small car, guys. Still, it should be much easier to navigate around tight off-road track thanks to the smaller dimension, the blocky design that we got. I'm sure you can take a look for yourself. Yes. As for the design, you can get a Land Cruiser in 3 flavors. which we have already broken down in trims, which is the Landcruiser 1958, the Landcruiser, and then the Landcruiser FE edition. The 1958 grade is full on retro with round lights, also standard on the first edition. And you've got the Toyota in quotes heritage badge on those ones, while the normal Landcruiser gets upgraded to slim rectangular headlights that are a throwback to the FJ62 from before. Now, both models share a square body, which always been a Landcruiser trademark, and the overhangs are significantly shorter to that. But what is underneath this? Let me just break that down. It's a TNGA-F platform and has a newly developed double wishbone setup with two twin tube shocks at the front and a multi-link setup with coil springs at the rear. Electric power steering is standard, as you also get a 17-inch disc brakes at every corner, people. So this is an off-road impressive vehicle and comes with off-road impressive figures as well. Let me give you what you need here. The approach, the breakover, and the departure angles for the new Landcruiser are 31, 25, and 23 degrees respectively, while the ground clearance is 8.7 inches, people. All models come standard with off-road recovery hooks at the front and rear, just in case you need to use the recovery hooks, okay? So the 1958 trim is not as well equipped as the Landcruiser and the Landcruiser First Edition, sacrificing a single degree approach angle, but that may be due to its design architecture because it mimics a much older 1958 version. On the mechanical side, the Landcruiser and the FE boast a front stabilizer bar disconnect for better wheel articulation at the front. And oddly, this benefit wasn't extended to the 1958. But there's something I need to point here before I wrap this whole thing up. The mid-spec trim, simply called the Landcruiser, is loaded with modern off-road tech, including multi-terrain select, which is now functional in both four-wheel drive low and four-wheel drive high. And you've got 3 drive modes: mud, dirt, and sand, people. So it's actually going back for its roots. And Toyota doesn't offer as many modes as some of its rivals, but in my experience, those are the main 3. And unlike certain systems, you can feel that there's a difference. Crawl control, which is low speed off-road cruise control, is standard, and you get hill descent control as well. If you are off-roading alone and you don't have a spotter, the Landcruiser trim will help you via multi-terrain monitor that displays obstacles via 12.3-inch touchscreen, guys. And as for customization, customers will have access to Toyota genuine accessories and associated accessory programs that we know of, people. So this is basically the 2024 Landcruiser that we got, and the basic differences in the trims and also in terms of design and what's underneath the chassis. People, we are so glad to see this vehicle come back in this form. It's one of the trademarks that we have always loved and seen around, especially where I live. They are all over, and they have proven to be very, very important vehicles when it comes to off-roading and reliability. So thank you so much. Have a great day. Until people, we meet same time again. Bye-bye.